Alright, folks, here we are with day number 13 on the road to 2000 ELO Rapid Series. It's been going well. We had an unfortunate game yesterday, a pretty dry game ending in a draw, so we're still at 1662 ELO. Started with 1600, so I can't complain about that. But hopefully we'll be able to hit 1700 within the next 3 weeks or so. My goal is to finish the month of October with a 1700 rating at the very least, and I think that's entirely realistic. So let's see if we can make some forward progress towards that with today's game. I'm going to get it started, but before I do, make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It's free, it helps me out a lot, and I would appreciate it immensely. Now with that being said, let's get started. Let's go into this game. We are playing with the white pieces. I said I'd try a different opening besides the 4-knight Scotch. Let's see what my opponent plays. They might not play e5. If e5, then I'll still go knight f3. And if knight c6, maybe I'll play an Italian. You see, I don't really know the Italian too well with white, but I've played it a lot with black. This already feels like they're walking into trouble. I'm sure they know the theory here. But we're still going to go knight g5. And the very common idea is eyeing the pawn on f7. Now, I must say, I do not know this opening very well. It's very possible I'm going to mess something up. This strikes me as the right move, d5, but I still think it's complicated after pawn takes. So let's see what my opponent does. They're playing all the theory. Okay. So they're playing all the right moves. At least I'm pretty confident this is all theory. I'm curious here. We're going to take some time to figure it out. It is a rapid game. If knight takes, how bad is this? Knight takes, king takes, pawn forward, knight takes bishop, and this doesn't really do too much. So I can choose to either keep my bishop on b3 and open up my rook, losing this pawn, or I can choose to keep my bishop on another square, save the bishop, keep it in the game, and I still lose this pawn. This pawn is a goner, essentially. Let's try to do this while developing a rook. I think that would make the most intuitive sense. It's entirely possible he goes knight takes here, in which case I'd have to move my knight back because it would be hanging, or I'd have to play something like d4. All right. I'm okay with potentially not winning this game because of the fact that this is not stuff I know. Like, I'm playing an opening that I am unfamiliar with, and I am knowledgeable and aware of that. Let's go back. I feel like that's the only move that makes any sense. And now we have the choice between d3, d4. I think playing knight c3 makes a lot of sense. Just playing a developing move with tempo. There's no checks for my opponent, and there's no way of punishing this move. I like my position. I don't know this very well, but I must say that at least as of now, I like my position. I can go queen e2 already, threatening this pawn. And it's very difficult to add a defender to it. The only move I can see to defend it would be knight d7. Let's play queen e2. The other move is castling, but then castling walks into this. But then rook e1. Maybe we go for this actually instead. Castling, rook e1. Queen e2 seems to directly at least force this move. Let's go queen e2. Let's go queen e2. Let's see what my opponent does, because I don't see anything just yet. If bishop here, I just take. Simple enough. And I can always castle next move. So we're going for the initiative instead of king safety, because I don't see any way for my opponent to punish me for playing the queen move early in the game. And notice my pawn on the d file is not even developed yet, just because I haven't had to bring my bishop out so far. I haven't really had the opportunity, but it's not because I'm playing purposeless moves. I think that's the biggest little important thing to note. The biggest little important thing to note. That's funny. The most important thing to note is that I'm not developing this for no reason. I'm doing it for a very valid reason, in my own opinion. I can already play d4 now, or I can castle. You know, the other thing is my opponent is also not really castled, not really developed. Their king's not safe. So why don't I just play d4? d4, pawn up, queen takes. So pawn up's not a move. Queen takes, knight takes. Queen takes, knight takes. Yeah, that's what I said. And I don't see anything else. I mean, castling, I'm sure, is fine. Okay. But here, can't I just take and then go bishop f4? See, once again, I think I can. I think I can. I don't see an issue with it. Oh, what I didn't think about is knight takes or queen takes. Okay, well, queen takes can't be happening because of the knight. Knight takes, I think I could still go bishop here. So now bishop f4 looks very good. And I think I'm in a good spot. Unless I'm mistaken, it's possible I'm missing a move. Always is possible. Maybe bishop here is a move now, but then after bishop takes, pawn takes, I have queen takes once again. So we're winning a pawn. I do think we're winning a pawn in this opening. So yes, like I said, bishop takes. So bishop g4. Bishop takes? What if bishop takes? Then bishop takes with check. Bishop takes, bishop takes. I think this is the only move that makes any sense in the position, though. That's the one little problem that I have right now with how I played. Okay, but they don't go for the line I was worried about. So now here I can take with check. And this forces a trade of queens, essentially. And if they take, then knight takes here, which gets out of doubled pawns as well, which is phenomenal for me. And then I can play f3 with tempo. Nothing's hanging. It looks good. Things look pretty good. I assume he castles queenside. Would make a lot of sense. Doesn't castle queenside. Interesting. Now I can castle queenside, though. And now he cannot castle queenside, and that slows down his development massively. Folks, I think this game's going well. I think this game's going really well. So it's fun to try different openings. The Italian so far has looked pretty good. Apparently, I played, according to chess.com, I played the knight attack, and my opponent played the Polerio defense. The more you know, the more you know. We're going to go rook here. Defending the knight, also opening up discovery ideas. Probably castles, yeah, makes sense, but that's a mistake. They should have castled on the other side, because knight f7 looks really good. It's not a big mistake because they have a check, but it's still... Oh, I should have thought about this a little bit more. Uh-oh. I have a feeling my knight gets trapped at the end of this line. Uh-oh, that's bad. That's bad. Wait, no, I'm fine. Because knight takes. If rook takes, my knight's trapped, because I have no squares for the knight. But now I have knight takes, and I think I'm fine. Because now I can go here. That was scary. I played these moves a little too fast. And I do drop a pawn here. But I don't actually drop a pawn. If bishop takes pawn, then g3. G3 looks really good, actually, because G3 kind of forces a trade of a bishop for a knight. Also, my opponent has the bishop here in a completely open position, and I only have 2 knights, so maybe I'm actually worse, even though I'm up a pawn. It's possible. It wouldn't be... I wouldn't be surprised if the engine doesn't like my position right now. But here, I was thinking I just go back. It's my only move. And now, okay. Oh, shoot, okay. Okay, I misevaluated this. What if here? Where does the bishop go? The bishop goes to h7. And then I'm in trouble. Hold on. What can we do here? We can go knight f2. But I really don't like this position for me right now. I really do not like this position for me. I'm still holding on. And I kind of force the rook trades. And I'm going to be relying on my knights to kind of make forking opportunities. So at least time will be a little hard for my opponent, because I think I'm pretty good with playing fast when it comes to the endgame. I calculate things fairly quickly. So here, bishop takes, for example, bishop takes h2, g3, and then knight f3 would win a bishop. As an example. Here we're going to stop any ideas of taking that pawn. And then we're going to play something like knight e3. We're going to play knight d3. Or probably actually knight f3, I would assume. Depending on where they go. Yeah, I'll play knight f3. I don't want to allow them to double my pawns. It becomes a weakness. Let's go here. Then we're going to work our knights up, and we're going to make some room for our king as well. So we're going to go forward. I have to make sure... The bishops are annoying because the bishops can pin my pieces very easily. But I am up a pawn, so in theory, I shouldn't be losing this as long as I can keep my king fairly active. Let's go here. And then if bishop c5, then I have bishop c3. So this is fine. No, then I have c3, sorry, is what I mean. We're also making a threat of knight f5. Yep. I could also just go knight f5 right away instead of pushing my pawn. Because if they take, then I have doubled pawns, and I don't like that. Go here. Now we're threatening to win this pawn, so he's going to have to go bishop all the way back. And we're going to start making forward progress with our king and with our other pawns. Do I want to go c3? Do I want to go c4? I probably want to go c4, b4 if I can. I also probably want to play g4 while I can right now, given my knights are here. Let's see, maybe he doesn't even defend this pawn. I think that would be a big mistake, because then I'd have a 3-on-1 pawn majority on the queen side. The king side, technically, even though it's the king's on the opposite side. But technically, I believe this is called the king side, because the king starts on the e-file. Let's see what happens. Okay, they go all the way back. I was thinking of starting with this move here. The cool thing is I can always have my knights defending each other, which is really, really nice. So I don't have to ever worry about, hanging anything. And we're going to go c4. Hold on, let me think. Might be a better way of doing this. What if I go knight c3, knight c4, and knight e5? c4, knight e5. What's the idea afterwards? The idea is probably going here, but I won't be able to do that probably. Can I go attack on any other square? Okay, I don't have too much time. Let's go c4. It's going to be important not to leave anything hanging, not to leave any pins. I mean, there's a pin right now, but it doesn't do anything because he can't add extra pressure to the knight without bringing his king 2 steps forward. So I just go here, and also my knight's defended twice. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. There's no concern. The one thing I should worry about is maybe a move like this, for example. Okay. It's not a bad move. It's not a bad move at all. We're just going to go king c2. If bishop takes, pawn takes. That's fine. And then we're going to go c3. King c3. Or maybe king d3. I'm not entirely sure. But essentially the goal is to activate our king as much as possible. And these knights are both double defended. Because if you look at it, they're defending... Really? You take? Really? Why did I think this was not possible? Okay, but your king's not going anywhere, buddy. Buddy-o? You gotta go here, and then you can't even go here. And now I just snatch all your pawns. What? There's no way this is good. Did my opponent just play too fast? Probably. Very much looks like it. Yeah, I mean, this is GG. Okay, I mean, 1700s are clearly not that good at chess. If you're watching and you're about, below 1600, you might have a high opinion of people who are this rating. I don't think that it's too much of a stretch to say that anybody who has achieved a rating of 1500 can easily achieve a rating of 1700, very easily, just by focusing in on the little things they do wrong. That was a great example of a little thing that a player can do wrong, where they don't realize the mobility of their king is the most important thing almost always in an endgame besides their pawn structure. And that is single-handedly what won me the game. I didn't win because I deserved to win. I won because my opponent made a mistake. At least I think so. So with that being said, let's take a look at the game review. Apparently I played with an 89% accuracy. That is kind of wild. Kind of wild. I'm really glad I played this high at a high accuracy because I have never played the Italian really as white. I mean, it's not my go-to. I've always played either the Scotch or the 4-Knight Scotch. In the time I played the D4 as an opening move, I played the Jobava London. So I'm very happy with how this went. Let's take a look at the moves on the board. It started with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. And, you know, I've heard a lot about how, and honestly, it's something I've been thinking myself. The 4-Knight Scotch, if you play it standard, in the standard way, and the opponent knows the theory, it almost always leads to a very equal position, where the middle game is what matters the most, but it's also sometimes too easy for black to try to trade off the pieces. And so instead, I went bishop c4 here, and we played it in Italian. And I went for this move, knight g5, attacking the pawn on f7. A very, very common idea. For those who are newer to chess, or if you remember when you were new at chess, you probably lost to this move several times. The idea being that once the knight is on f6, the knight can no longer protect this pawn, and there's no good piece to protect this pawn. The only other piece that can protect the pawn on f7 that's being double attacked currently is the queen, and you don't want to use the queen to protect that. So the reason why is, let's say you do go queen e7, if knight takes, queen takes, bishop takes is terrible for you, obviously. So it doesn't actually do anything, really. So with that being said, my opponent played the only move, and this is very commonly known, the only move is d5. After e takes d5, the only move, once again, that keeps some level of equality is knight a5. And after knight a5, I'm supposed to go bishop b5 check. This I didn't know, and I you know, I'm familiar with this, but it's been a while. So instead I went bishop b3, and this is apparently much worse for me. Interesting. So knight takes is good, a takes is good, and they're supposed to play h6. They do play h6. I go knight f3, and they're supposed to play e4. That's what I was surprised by. They didn't play e4. I thought e4 would be bad for me. Instead they played queen takes, and here I'm chilling. Queen e2 is a move, like I was saying. Knight c3 is the best move because it is a move that gains tempo. It attacks the queen. They have to spend a move moving their queen. And then I can play queen e2 on the next move, or castles on the next move. Here, queen e2 and castles are both very highly rated according to the engine. 0.83, 0.76, whatever. About plus 0.75 for both moves. I played queen e2 first. After the knight steps back, I played d4, also the best move. Looking at the weakness on e5, realizing they cannot play e4 because queen can take on e4. And after they tried to defend with f6, now I went, oh, I didn't play the best move here. Here, the best move is knight b5. Knight b5, because if you look carefully, let's see why. Let's say, hypothetically, I play queen b6, and now I castle? Oh, the queen's defending the knight, first of all. I kind of missed that. c6 is played. Knight c3. Okay, I don't see a concrete reason why. I guess the idea is the same, that you're going to win this pawn in the long run. And it gains tempo, I guess. It improves your knight to a... It doesn't even improve your knight to a better square, though. Here, what I would have thought would be a move right away is something like bishop f4. But bishop f4, if we check, is not the best either. So, anyways, I played takes, which is fine. Knight takes, then bishop f4, which is the best move now. After bishop g4, I took the knight, and I snatched this free pawn. Apparently, I should have played rook d1 first. Rook d1 first. Why? Because let's say they go here trying to defend the pawn, hypothetically. Then queen b5 check. Oh my, okay, we're getting into some stuff here. We're getting into some stuff. I did not see this far ahead. Maybe there will come a point where I will see this far ahead, but I just thought to myself, I'm better here. I'm better here, and I was better, and I continued to be better, and now I'm worse. Now I'm worse, and I think I got lucky with how my opponent responded, because bishop f4, king b1 only move, rook takes rook, knight takes rook was the idea to be able to free up my knight onto the e5 square. But if they played So here, here, here. Okay, never mind. I didn't really mess up that badly. My opponent played good moves. What could I have done here instead of what I played? Wow. Rook takes d6, apparently. So you sack the exchange, and then after rook takes back, now you play this. What if pawn takes? Now you still play this. Okay, so they realize the bishop is the problem. You free up a check, and then your knight's trapped. So instead, what do? Is you sack the exchange, and then when they take, then you play this. And sure, it's still a similar result in the sense that you're still going to be up only, hold on. Wait, what am I saying? You're much better here. You're much better here, no? And knight takes on d6, sure. Rook takes. Yeah, you're only up a pawn in material. Sorry, my brain was lagging for a second. I couldn't count the material on the board. You're only up 1 point in material, but at the same time, the position is much more open, and with the rooks on the board, it's much easier to, actually convert your advantage to a win. With only 2 knights on the board against 2 bishops in an open position, it's pretty hard. One thing about chess is that the strength of pieces is relative, and it's relative to what is on the board. What does the position look like? What are the intricacies of the position and how that affects the game? In a position like this, it's actually completely equal according to the engine, because those bishops are so much stronger than my knights. Those bishops are working with a wide open space, and it's going to be really hard for me to make forward pawn movement without weakening my pawns. So, unfortunately for my opponent kind of misplayed this. I was able to work my knights forward, make some significant progress. Here, knight f5 is given an accuracy because I helped them play the only move, but I kind of thought this move wasn't that great, and let's see exactly how. So I'm not going to take too much of a look at this. And yeah, okay, so it was a draw. Like I said, the bishops were very strong. My opponent made the mistake of thinking that they could hold the endgame without their bishops if we just traded off the pieces. And because of these 2 pawns working together as passers, that is simply not going to happen. Also, my opponent didn't realize that it's going to be very hard for him to make forward mobility if he doesn't immediately go king d6. King d6, and things might have been a little bit more complicated. I'd probably have to play something like b4, and if he went forward, I wouldn't care about this pawn. If he ever takes this pawn, I go forward. So I would have probably gone like, I don't know, king... maybe b3 or maybe b5 for example. If you take, you lose. So yeah, my opponent kind of did not realize this endgame, the dynamics of this endgame, and I ended up with a completely winning position here. Nothing more to see. If you look carefully, the king has no forward squares. None of those are possible, and these pawns are going to easily work together along with my king to promote. And this is a pretty simple win. Also important to note that my pawns do not let his pawns make any passers. It's hard, or I would even say impossible, without the king's help, to be able to make any of these pawns go through this formation, even though it looks pretty awful. Doubled pawns are usually really bad because the pawns behind are a weakness. But in an endgame without any pieces, they can be decently good. Because of the fact that they control extra squares on the columns that are next to it, on the files that are next to it. So, yeah, ultimately, very nice win. I'm very happy with it. We're back on track. We're going forward. 1670 elo, which means I only have 30 elo to go in order to hit 1700. Let's see how long it takes to get there. Technically, I should be able to get there in the next 5 days if I win every game. We will see. We will see. But, yeah. This was a good game, and I'm proud of it. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and also, update, I will be streaming to YouTube as well. So I mentioned I stream on Twitch. I know a lot of people don't have Twitch accounts. I will also be streaming on YouTube. As of today, most likely. I'll try to set that up and get started today. So I'd love to see you in the streams in chat as well. And you can let me know what you think about all the videos. And I would appreciate that a lot. So, with that being said, I think that's it for today. Have a lovely, lovely day, folks. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Adios. I try to come up with a different way to say goodbye in a different language every time, and I always like have a brain lag at the end. Anyways, goodbye. See you next time.